Adler Troubleshooting DVD. This DVD will cover how to troubleshoot the Adler, threading the Adler, the tension changes on the bobbin, as well as the top tension, how to wind a bobbin, how to get your bobbin tension right, how to oil the machine, the different size needles, the different size threads, how to time the machine, how to clean the machine, and how to sew leather and coated webbing. Threading the Adler. Using pre-lubricated bonded thread from Weaver, place the thread spool on the thread stand, taking your thread from the bottom to the top bracket and choosing any hole that you want to. Tension problems will occur if you do not go through the top bracket. Continue by taking the thread through the second hole on the thread post, and then through the top hole. Take your thread through the metal loop on the top tensioner. Go over the top of the thread disc and pull it straight down, and then take your thread through the other metal loop and proceed down to your secondary tensioner. Make sure you go once all the way around the tensioner and then up over the black post and through the check spring. Make sure you do not get it double looped. You will then take your thread through the take-up arm. In order to go through the take-up arm, you press your pedal and turn your flywheel in a sewing motion until your take-up arm is all the way down at the end. This is the only place to thread the machine because it allows your thread to go through the arm and to pass through the opening on the shield. The thread then goes through the little hole until you see the thread appear down by the needle bar. The next step is to move your needle bar down so you can see the hole on the side of the bar to insert your thread. Pull it down and move your flywheel so the take-up arm goes back up so you can see the eye of the needle. Go through the eye of the needle this way from left to right. Then raising your foot, turn your flywheel so your needle proceeds down through the plate, grabbing your thread and pulling it through the foot. You are fully threaded on the top. Taking the needle out and inserting the needle into the Adler. To take the needle out, you insert a 2mm wrench all the way in. Loosen the set screw and pull the needle out of the socket. Notice that the needle has a groove on the one side and a scarf on the other. The scarf gets turned toward the shuttle. The groove gets turned to exactly a 90-degree angle as you sit at the machine. Insert the needle all the way up. Make sure that it is turned to 90 degrees so the eye of the needle is straight. Tighten the set screw. You now have successfully inserted the needle. Inserting the bobbin into the Adler. Trip your bobbin case so that it opens up. You will be using a full bobbin, which we will insert so the bobbin unwinds counterclockwise. Push the bobbin all the way in, then latch it and pull it in the tensioner. Letting about a 6-inch tail of thread hanging out. Then lightly hang on to your top thread and bring your needle bar all the way down. It will automatically pick up your bobbin thread and bring it through the feed dog to the top. You are now fully threaded. The 3 tensions on the Adler. In order to set your tension on the bobbin, you loosen your set screw with a screwdriver, about 1 round. You advance your machine until you come to the second screw. which is your adjusting screw. Tightening will give you a tighter tension, and loosening will give you a looser tension. After you get your tension set, you will then tighten your set screw. Only until it touches the adjusting screw. This is how you tighten and loosen your tension on the bobbin. In order to get a tighter tension on the top tension, take the knob on top and turn it counterclockwise when you are sitting at the Adler. To loosen your tension, you turn it clockwise. The tensioner and the bobbin tensioner is all you want to turn. The secondary tensioner should be turned so that you can see approximately 1/8 of an inch of its bolt. To adjust the tension on the check spring, grab hold of the black knob. Loosen the screw behind the tensioner. Adjust the knob left or right to the desired tension and retighten the screw. For the most part, you can leave this tensioner alone. Oiling the Adler. To keep your machine in good running condition, be sure to keep your Adler properly oiled. Your machine should be oiled daily. These are the ports that need to be oiled. Sewing coated webbing on the Adler. Here we are going to show you how it looks when coated webbing is not stitched right. You can see the pileup of thread underneath. The way to correct this is to pull it out and tighten the top tensioner. About 4 turns and try this again. Continue tightening the top tension until the bottom looks as good as the top. Holding your top thread and your bobbin thread pulled out, lift your foot and begin to sew. Continue to hold your thread for the first couple of inches. Sewing leather. You should first adjust the top tension so you see about a 1/4 of the bolt on the back. Holding your top thread and your bobbin thread pulled out, lift your foot and begin to sew. As you can see, this has produced a beautiful stitch on the top and on the bottom, because tension is set right with the right size needles. Needle and thread combination. The needle system that we are using is a 794S, which is a leather needle. A 7x3 needle, which is used for stitching nylon webbing or canvas, is a point needle. If you are using the 160 needle, we suggest that you use 138 thread top and bottom. This can be used for lightweight nylon, belts, chaps, etc. If you are using the 180 needle, we suggest using 207 thread on the top and the bottom. This can be used for lightweight nylon, halters, collars, pet supplies, etc. If you are using the 200 needle, we suggest using 277 thread on the top and 207 on the bottom. This can be used for nylon halters, collars, leashes, etc. If you are using the 230 needle, we suggest using 277 thread on the top and 207 on the bottom. If you are using the 250 needle, we suggest using our heaviest thread, 346 on the top and 277 on the bottom. You can sew from a 1/2 inch to a 3/4 inch with this needle. The 250 needle is the heaviest needle that is carried for the Adler. This can be used for heavy leather items, harness stitching, etc. Timing the Adler. In order to time the machine, you should use the Adler timing device. The first thing you want to do is take the throat plate off. This way you can see exactly what you are doing on the timing of the machine. Place your timing device on the last screw hole on the plate with the small shoulder bolt to attach it. Having the sliding mechanism almost against the needle and the stitch lever at 0, bring your needle bar down to dead bottom. By turning the flywheel in the sewing motion like this, the bottom of the cutout on your timing device should be scraping against your needle bar. This tells you that your needle bar is in time. If your needle bar is not touching at this point, your needle bar is too high. If it is pushing against this plate, then your needle bar is too low. You must take the cover off in order to make the adjustment. If your needle bar is too low and is pushing against the timing device, then your needle bar needs to go back up. Turn your flywheel so you can get to your needle bar clamp, which is right here. You take a 4mm wrench to loosen the 2 screws. Next, make a tiny mark on your shaft so you know how far to go back, up or down. When you have gone up the appropriate height, you reclamp the screw, bring it back down, and see if you are right. Once you're right, bring it back up and retighten both screws. This is step 1 on timing the machine. The next step is raising the needle bar to the top of the sliding mechanism by turning it in a sewing motion and sliding it in, so it slides in perfect, just like it did on the bottom. At this time, the shuttle point has to be at the forward edge of the needle, which is right here. If your point is past the needle, then you have to unclamp underneath here on the shaft. Loosen the 2 clamping screws and rotate the shuttle backwards or forwards until it is right on the forward edge of the needle. In fact, you have got about 1/16 play in the shuttle. When the shuttle point is pushed forward, it should be past the forward edge of the needle, about 1/32 inch. When you turn it back, it should be dead even with the middle of the needle. This is perfectly timed. Cleaning the Adler. You should clean your Adler once a week if you are using it. You should clean the machine on the barrel end once a week. So tighten the set screw. Next, you take the 2 screws out of the door assembly. Now take the shuttle out. Everything is out of here that needs to be out. At this point, you should take an air hose and blow it out. When you have blown it out, spray it with Ballistol, which we sell here at Weaver Leather. You spray it in here. It is a form of lubrication and cleanser. This ring that you see around here is an inner race, and there are 4 springs behind the race. One right here, one right here, here, and here. If you release the set screw, the inner race and springs will come out, so you want to make sure that doesn't happen. Now you are ready to put the shuttle back in place. Turn your flywheel till your point is straight down here. You can put your shuttle right back and rest it on top like this. You put the door assembly back on, place the distance ring correctly, and put everything into place. The next thing you do once everything is placed back in and the screws are tight is release the set screw one full round. Now you have full spring tension on your shuttle. Otherwise, it will skip stitches. Now your machine should be perfectly timed. If you still have problems of skipping stitches, then retighten the set screw. Take the door assembly off and add one more distance ring. Now put the door assembly back on and release the set screw. If you need to buy more distance rings, we sell them here at Weaver Leather. Does your needle bar need to be moved? Let's see if your needle bar needs to be moved left or right. If your needle is down through the feed dog and you notice that the needle is off to the front of the hole or to the back of the hole, you need to adjust it so it is centered. Make sure your feed dog is not loose at this point. As your needle enters down through the feed dog, it should be dead center. There is an adjustment on the back of the machine. The adjustment is to loosen this 1/2-inch hex head bolt. Take a socket set, loosen it about one round. At this point, you can grab a hold of the needle bar and move it forward or backward. Position your needle so it is centered in the feed dog and retighten the bolt. Adjusting the stitch lever. If your stitch lever becomes loose and wants to jump up and down while you are stitching, there is an adjustment right here. Raise the stitch lever all the way up and tighten the Allen screw that is located right here, right underneath the lever. You might need a flashlight to find the screw. After tightening the screw, check the lever for desired tightness. You can also adjust it from the back side here at this screw post. You take a 3mm Allen wrench and go in there. But before you do that, you have to loosen this nut about 1/2 round. Go in there and tighten just a bit and retighten the nut. Check to see if the stitch lever is about the right tightness. How to install the roller guide. The Deluxe Roller Guide that we sell in our catalog is a very good roller guide to use for about anything you want to stitch. It has an adjustment forward and backward. Loosen this wing nut and you are able to go left or right with the roller. We will take the cover off of the back of the machine here to show you how it is installed. With the L bracket, the roller faces towards the foot. Put the L bracket on. The holes are pre-drilled and you turn the screws in. Now you are ready to put the cover back on. The next thing to adjust would be to bring the roller guide down. Position it nice and straight against the foot. We need to move it forward, so bring your needle down so you can see your needle. Loosen this 3mm Allen screw. Pull forward until your roller is even with the needle. Now retighten your screws.